let's get down to the game plan, because you need a game plan. Otherwise, you're just going to end up wasting an awful lot of time, an awful lot of money, and end up with an awful lot of rubbish. We're going to start with the iPad. The iPad is a fantastic starting tool for getting your foot on the ladder. Even if you start off the iPad and then later on go into using more fancy cameras and more complex setups, the learning curve will be shorter. Essentially, what you're learning is you're learning a visual language. You're going to create a video 2 to 3 minutes, 3 minutes maximum. You're going to make a 2 to 3 minute video, and don't forget, this video is going to be one of many. Allow yourself to make mistakes, and if something doesn't quite work out, just go, well, why did that not work out? Lesson learned, yeah? But your assignment, and I'm going to give you tasks to do along the way, is to create a 2 to 3 minute video. It's that simple. So I've shot a demo, and I'm going to show you how I've gone about sort of putting this together. All shot on iPhone and iPad. And I'll just show you a few bits. This is basically, keep the music down. This is basically sort of what I shot. Yeah, it was all shot on iPhone. And I'm going to show you how to create this, how to go out and shoot this sort of, it's like a documentary style that you apply to sort of showcase your brand. People love this sort of style because you see it an awful lot on reality TV. So it's very popular. And this is the sort of style of video, to begin with anyway, that you're going to create. We'll go through all this. You'll see all this as we go through the course. You know, from like how to plan it to what shots to get, and then how to edit it all together. To make it as easy as possible for you, there's 2 simple ingredients that you're going to actually go out and capture. You're going to capture a talking head and what we call B-roll. You've seen in that example before, if I just go back, you have the talking head, there she is, she's talking, but as she keeps talking, we see visuals relating to what she's talking about. So if I just come back out of that again. So yeah, you're going to have the talking head, and you're going to have what we call B-roll. The talking head is basically going to be either yourself or someone else, either talking to camera or talking to someone who is interviewing them off camera. If it was just a talking head all the way through, it'd be quite dull. So we're going to dress all this up with what we call B-roll, which is basically visuals associated with the themes of what is being spoken about. And, you know, she's talking about loose leaf tea. So we've got all these visuals. That's the B-roll, see? That's the talking head. And we've got all these visuals relating to what she's talking about, yeah? And it just makes the whole video come to life. And that is basically 2 simple ingredients. And that, you know, you're going to learn soon how to actually plan and structure this out very, very quickly with what I call the 5-card index method. First of all, I want you to write down some topic ideas of what you could create a video about, because you'll find if you go through your website, your social media, there's tons of ideas of what you can make a video about. Throughout this course, I'm going to use the metaphor of cooking. I want you to think like a chef. Making a video is very similar to cooking a meal. You want to cook a meal? First of all, what is the meal going to be? Then you go, what ingredients do I need? And you make a shopping list of what ingredients you need. Then you go out, you get them ingredients. Then you bring it all in the kitchen and you slice and dice it and you sort of prepare and prep. And then you put it all together. You assemble your ingredients, you chopped up prepared ingredients, and then you add herbs and spices and you cook it, yeah? And then you serve it. The same is with video. You start off, you decide, instead of deciding what meal you're going to cook, you decide, what video am I going to make? What is the video about? What shots do I need? The ingredients, basically. And then you bring it all together, and then you do the editing. The editing is like when you get in the kitchen, you've got all your video content together. That's where you assemble your video, and then you add herbs and spices. That's where you start adding things like text, music, special effects. Obviously, you don't want to overdo it because it would be too sickly. In this module, we are going to talk about putting a structure and an outline to your video. This is a really important step to take. You don't want to miss this step. But first of all, why do we plan a video? Well, one of the reasons we plan the video is if you just go straight out there and start filming, you're just going to haphazardly just film loads of footage and end up having like quite a bit of a mess. A lot of people just go out, they go, right, I've got an idea for a video. They go out, they just shoot anything that moves. And when they come back, they've got a pile of footage that they're not quite sure what to do with. Also, if you don't plan at the beginning, it'll take you a lot more time, effort, hard work, and you'll be overwhelmed in the edit part, because then in the edit you're going to have to sort of try and find a structure to it, and it's going to waste an awful lot of your time. So I've put together a game plan for the planning, and it's a very simple game plan. It's called the 5-card index method, and this will save you an awful lot of time, and it's just a format for you to play with just to get your feet wet, just to get started basically. You can go later on, you'll find your own methodology of actually planning your video, but this is a great starting point. Our goal is a 2 to 3 minute, it could be even a minute, but it's a 2 to 3 minute video. You're going to pick a topic, and the 2 main ingredients to keep this simple, again, similar to the cooker metaphor, we're just cooking a simple dish, we're making a simple video. So the 2 simple ingredients that we're going for are the talking head, as you can see here, and the B-roll. First of all, where do we start? Throughout this video, I'm actually going to be putting together a video for a company called Leaf. We can see their website here. First thing I like to do is just go through if you're making a video for yourself or someone else, go through the website, go through the Facebook pages, look at their Twitter feeds, and you'll find a ton of ideas of what you can make video for. So starting off on This Is Leaf, which is a tea shop, looking through their website, first thing I would do is just click on the About. So I click on About. If I scroll through, there's lots of clues of things that we can actually make a video about. And I've already scrolled through already. There's a ton of different subjects and topics we could cover. For example, how did they begin? What was their backstory? That could be a video. Their values. I mean, look at this. We've got like sort of food and drink. That could be a video in itself. Good times all the time. So this is where they're talking about morning birds, early risers, night owls. You can make a video called Early Risers and Night Owls at Leaf Cafe. So it's all there for you really. There's lots of clues of what you can make a video about. But one of the core things about their brand is loose leaf tea. I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a video called Loose Leaf Tea 101. So what is loose leaf tea, for example, and what's the difference between loose leaf tea and a tea bag? So what I want you to do now, I want you to pick a topic. You've already made a list of ideas of what you can make a video about, and don't forget, we're not going for a big massive video. We're going for, you might have all these different big ideas, and we're going to break them down into sizable chunks, and I want you to find a topic within those list of topics you've already come up with to make your video about. Also, I want you to think of a headline for it. Imagine this was a magazine article. What would you call the article? In this case, what would you call the video? Because eventually you're going to upload this to YouTube, Facebook, embed it into your website. What would the title of the video be? That title, think of a title that your audience would find interesting or, oh, I'm curious there. Right, I'm going to go through what I call the 5-card index outline method. So you need 5 index cards, or you could, if you want to, use sticky notes. Your first card, I want you to jot at the top, as you can see here, intro. This is the section where we're actually going back to the key ingredients. we've got talking head and we've got B-roll. Now the talking head sections is what is actually going to build your structure, build the outline, build the narrative for what the video is going to be. We're basically going to use these 5 cards to structure an outline for what you're actually going to talk about. So your first card, just jot at the top, intro. And then I want you to put some key points about, and these are for your benefit now. What I don't want you to do is script at this time, because I think you'll find that if you script it and you're reading it out, unless you're a trained presenter, it will come across quite sort of, scripted, basically. And you want it to be as natural as possible, because people like to watch real people. In this chunk, you're basically going to introduce the video of what the video is about. In the case of loose leaf tea, it would be, in this video, we're going to explore loose leaf tea, the differences between loose leaf tea and a tea bag. How is loose leaf tea grown? All the things you're going to explore, basically, like a summary of what you're about to explore. So if you jot that down on your first index card 2, 3, and 4, these are going to be the 3 main subtopics you're going to talk about. On each one, I want you to jot down you've got talking point 1, talking point 2, and talking point 3. In the case of, say, for example, the loose leaf tea, talking point 1 could be, how is loose leaf tea grown? Because, from what I was researching before, loose leaf tea, there's certain weather conditions, the environment it's grown in, all affect the flavour. How it's picked affects the flavour too. First talking point possibly could be, what's the process of making loose leaf tea? Point 2 could be, what are the health benefits of loose leaf tea? Point 3 could be the popularity of loose leaf tea. Why is it so popular at the moment? For example, they're saying loose leaf tea is very similar to wine tasting, and there's a whole subculture that's developed. Think of 3 points that you'd like to make within your topic, and just jot down some ideas just for reminders, because there might be some stats you want to mention, although you don't want to talk about stats too much. You want to keep it personal and humane kind of thing. And this is just for your reference point, because when you talk to camera, you'll film yourself talking about each card one at a time, and then you'll have all your building blocks. And then your final and 5th building block is recap and conclusion. So this would be sort of like a recap of what you've just been speaking about, maybe some personal opinion about it. Also further details for more information. So it might be, if you'd like to find out more, like our Facebook page, check out our events. In the case of this one, Loose Leaf Tea, they've just started an online shop. At this stage, it'd be very good to mention to people, if you're interested, you can actually go to our online store and order some loose leaf tea. So it's kind of like a call to action as well. What I want you to do is get your 5 cards and jot all those ideas down. Okay. So we've got our narrative. We've got the talking building blocks that will form the structure of your video. You've got your outline now. And all you're going to do is you're going to record yourself to camera, and you're going to have your index card with your bullet points on for a reminder, and you're going to look at it. And because it's only a small amount of information at a time, you're just going to scan over, put the card down, look into camera, and talk about those particular points within that subtopic. The next thing, if I just scrub back to our 2 simple ingredients. So we've got everything we need now for the outline and the talking head. What we need now is we need some visuals to dress it all up with. Otherwise, it could be quite boring if you're just looking at a talking head all the way through. So what we're after now is we're after some B-roll footage. B-roll is just basically visuals that will enhance and confirm what's being said. So what we need to do is we need to jot down some ideas. This is going to be our shot list. Jot down some ideas in a notebook or on your phone of what visuals could you make relating to this topic that you're talking about. Look through your 5 cards and you'll get some ideas of what visuals you could shoot. For example, I've got down here tea being made, a variety of tea leaves on the table, behind the counter where tea's being served, any shots of signage. I've got sort of outside the shop. A good way as well, going back to what we did before, to get some ideas for what you could shoot. If I go back to the website, and if I just scrub through, in fact, it's got here at the top, it says gallery. So if I click through on that one, right, camera in action. So I've clicked on the gallery page, and you can see there's lots of photographs. These are all ideas of B-roll footage. Just click through a few. So you got here, if I click on that one, you got people drinking tea. We could get some shots of different types of tea on the table. And we could do that from different angles, above and from the side. Also, the decor is quite interesting in the tea shop. It's art decor. So what I like about this one is, see the way it's framed? There's a bit of negative space here. We could put some text there maybe even in the video. So yeah, the actual decor of the location is a nice one to get. We've got some shots of outside, so you can see through the window. So these are all ideas. In fact, we can even set up a few shots. See there, we've got someone standing there with a bag with their logo on. You've got these shots of the window. So you've got lots of different types of shots here that we can go for. The cakes. Obviously, I'm going to be focusing on tea on this one. Okay. Now, the other place you can go to as well for ideas, and this is just for getting ideas, you don't have to repeat it completely, is there's a site called Pinterest. And all you do on Pinterest is you can type in the search bar all kinds of different topics, and people have posted up all kinds of different images. So if I just I've just put in loose leaf tea. As you can see, there's lots of different ideas I could get for different images. For example, I could place a load of sort of tea packaging in a line like such. Maybe I'd do it on a wooden table. Where else have we got? Tea being poured. Straight away, I've got lots of ideas for images that I could actually go out and look for, or even set up and stage. And what you want to do is you want to jot all these ideas, just close that. Jot all these ideas as a shot list. And you might not get all these shots, but at least when you go on your shoot, you're not guessing and thinking, oh, what do we do next? You've got a list. And all you've got to do is get as many of them shots as you can. And then you've got your sort of talk. We've got our two simple ingredients. We've got our talking head, and we've got a shot list for our B-roll. And you've got everything then to start making your video. There will be some kit I do recommend you buy. You can actually go around and start hand holding stuff. You can still get a decent video that way, but there are some tools that will actually improve the quality of your video. At the same time, there's so many gadgets out there as well. I mean, there's new stuff coming out all the time. For this video, I just want to talk about the essential kit. The criteria, don't forget, is we want to travel light and we want to work fast. When you are buying new gear, you have to ask yourself the question, is this going to make my job take longer, or is it actually going to sort of speed up the process? Also, you know, if you start getting really heavy equipment, you're sort of defeating the object, because the whole idea of these iPads and iPhones is you can travel light, and that's what we want to keep. We want to be able to travel light and work fast. All this gear and all this kit out there, where do you begin? Where do you start? Well, you don't have to spend a fortune, number one, and I'm going to go through the essentials of what you need to buy. First of all, what's our priority when it comes to kit? For the essential kit, the first two priorities are, first of all, stabilization. We want our videos to be stable and steady. We don't want lots of shaking going on. The second one is we want good quality sound. You can get away to some extent if you're very close up filming either yourself or someone else, but the sound quality of the microphones on the iPads and the iPhones are not fantastic. But we can improve this with some simple mics out there, which I'll go through. Okay, so let's start with stabilization. Right, the iPad rig setup. Well, there's a couple of movie cases out there. For starters, we've got iOgrapher. I don't know how to say this one. I think it's Meikayeme movie mount. Now, these are cases where what they allow you to do is at the bottom of the case, it's got like sort of a hole where you can actually screw in a tripod. And I'll go through that with you. For example, I use the Joby GorillaPod, which is fantastic. I'm actually using it now on this camera. The first protocol with an iPad is you want an iPad movie case, and that will allow you to attach it to a tripod. Tripod-wise, I do recommend the Joby GorillaPod. There's different versions of it. It can be quite expensive if you get the high end, but you can get cheap tripods for about, I don't know, $20. You don't need a high-end tripod, because don't forget, the iPad or the iPhone, it's only light. So it's not a heavy camera, so we don't need a big, bulky tripod. You want to go for something that's lightweight. So once you've got your case, we then need a tripod. Every tripod has a tripod plate, and this comes off the tripod itself, and you can screw it into the camera, you can screw it into the iPad movie case, and then attach it onto the tripod itself. So once you've got that, you'll have steady shots. And what I love about the GorillaPod as well is you can wrap it around different objects like chairs, just bang it onto, just place it on a table. Okay, so now sound, right? You want better sound. Now, if you've already got a microphone with an XLR lead, you can get one of these things called an iRig, and the iRig will actually allow you to plug in existing microphones that you have, and that will record the sound straight into your iPad or your iPhone. There's a microphone called the Rode Go mic. You will need an adapter for this, and I'll have the details in the download sheets for the equipment. And again, this will get you better sound for your iPad. And I like the way you can sort of see here, it's got a microphone attached. You've got a fantastic setup there for your iPad. And also with these cases, a lot of these cases you can apply different kinds of lenses to, which will give you more options. Another one is called the Rode SmartLav Plus. There's one called Rode SmartLav. Go for the SmartLav Plus. That's the most recent one. And this one will plug straight into the iPhone or the iPad, and you just clip it onto the person being interviewed or onto yourself, and it will record directly into your iPad or your iPhone, and you'll get good quality sound. In this video, I want to go through the 3-step picture drill, and I also want us to look at how to use the basic camera on either your iPhone or your iPad. In the examples, we'll be looking at the iPad screen, but the same sort of screen exists on your iPhone, so you'll be able to follow it the same way. Okay, so 3-step picture drill is just a nice habit to get into, which will improve the quality of your video footage and your shots. Okay, so let's go through them briefly, quickly. First of all, you frame your shot, then you lock your focus, and then you'll set your exposure. And that's the 3 steps. And we're going to go through them one by one really quickly. But first of all, if you're using your phone, what you want to do is you want to turn on airport mode. And what this will do is basically stop you from getting any phone calls while you're filming, because you don't want your shots to get interrupted. Also, once you've selected the camera app, you'll notice on the right hand side there's like a camera mode. You might find it's set straight away to photo, All you do is you tap and scroll till we get on video mode. Now on the iPad, what you want to do is double tap the screen so that the video fills the whole screen. Okay, so we're ready now to start the 3-step workflow. Okay, so your first step is frame your shot. This is basically where you want to get the shot to look the way you want it to look, get the composition right, and you're all set up. Really straightforward. Your second step is you want to lock your focus. You'll notice if you're looking at the screen, things shift in and out of focus all the time. This is because it's like on autofocus, so we want to go manual. So all you do is just tap the subject matter that you want to be in focus, that is the main focus of the shot. Tap and hold, and you'll notice at the top like a yellow rectangle appears, and it'll have AE, AF, and that's basically your focus is now locked. So you'll find it won't shift in and out of focus. Okay, so the third and final step, see, it's really easy, isn't it? Third and final step is we want to set the exposure. This is the volume of light that we allow into your camera. And the more light that comes in, the brighter the picture. The less light we allow in, the darker the picture. And you'll notice on your screen, you'll see like a little sundial. And all we do is we just tap, hold and drag, and we can scrub it up and down. And this will make our picture brighter or darker. Okay, so you just get it to the way you want it to be. And then that's it, the 3-step picture drill. And you'll notice that your picture, it's nicely lit, it's nicely framed, and the focus is set as well. And then all we've got to do is press the red button to start recording. And you notice just above it, you've got a time code for the amount of time you've been recording for. And to stop record, just press the red button again, and that'll end your clip. And if you use the 3-step picture drill on all your shots, you'll get much better footage. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to look at filming habits. 5 filming habits. These 5 filming habits are not there as rules that you must follow as such, but if you follow these 5 filming habits, again, it will improve the quality of your video footage, and it will actually release you to be more creative, because once you make these habits, it's less to think about and you can just focus on getting that good content. So I'm going to go through these very quickly. First, number 1, use the 3-step picture drill. Well, we've already covered that. So if you use the 3-step picture drill for all your shots, the picture quality will be great. It'll be in focus. The exposure will be correct. You know, you get into the habit of doing that, you're not going to get dodgy footage that you can't work with. Habit number 2, hold the iPad correctly. Now, this goes for your iPhone or your iPad. What you don't want to do is hold your iPad or your iPhone like this, portrait mode. If you hold it this way, what you'll find is you'll get these black lines either side when you put it onto your video screen. If you think about the shape of your video, whether it's on YouTube or on the television, it's that sort of shape, yeah? That's the aspect ratio. The third tip is zoom with your feet. Now, if you're trying to get a shot, you can pinch to get that zoom, but what happens is you're using digital zoom then, and it will pixelate and the quality will go. So if I wanted to shoot something far over there in the corner of the room and get closer in to frame my shot, rather than zoom in, just walk over and position yourself. Don't forget, you can move around to get your shots. You don't have to zoom into everything. In fact, do not use digital zoom because it will pixelate and the quality will be very grainy and not very good. Also, there's more options then as well if you use your feet to zoom, you've got more control of the framing. Okay, the fourth one is more of a sort of mindset. Video is not made out of one long video clip. It's made out of lots of different video clips. They're a bit like Lego, if you will. You place these blocks next to each other and they play one after each other. And we'll go through that a bit further on. But you have to think of, like, when you walk into a room and you're going to get some footage, you got to think, what shots am I going to get that I can piece together that will make a video? Yeah, not go in and just film consistently everything that moves. Yeah, you want it to think in terms of what shots do I need to collect that, when pieced together, will make a video. That will make sense later on. And then the fifth rule: every time you get a shot, when you press record, this is, especially for when we're doing B-roll footage now, you want your shots to last at least 10 seconds. I call it the 10-second rule. This will make sense in the edit, because if I just went and I just pressed record, 1, 2, 3, done. 1, 2, 3, I've got that clip for 3 seconds. Sometimes there's not an awful lot I can do with it. If I have a 10-second clip, I've got options then of where I want the clip to begin and end in the edit. But if it's, if I'm just filming for less than 10 seconds, I'm going to have a lot of footage that happens too fast that I can't use. This will make sense in the edit. But basically, when you're getting each shot, and when you feel strange to begin with, and you press record, in your head, count to 10. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop. Record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop. Or, it doesn't have to be 10 exactly. You might want to make it last longer, but make sure you get at least 10 seconds worth for each shot. Make these habits your habits when you film, and it will actually release you to be creative. So we've already made the 5 index cards, and these are going to be the talking points of what you're going to talk about. So I want to just talk about filming this. Basically, this is one of our first ingredients of the 2 simple ingredients. The talking head is actually going to be the narrative structure, and we're going to match that up with visuals for this kind of video that we're going to make. The things, talking to camera, it will feel strange to begin with. A lot of people said to me when I first started talking to camera, imagine it's a person. Imagine you're talking to one person rather than speaking to a crowd of people. And look into the lens as well when you're talking. Sometimes as well, the talking to head camera, you may find you're actually interviewing someone. If you are interviewing someone, this is another method where you actually get that person being interviewed to actually look, in fact, you frame your shot differently, and you'd have them look off camera. So say your camera's here, you'd be to the side of the camera and they'd be looking at you here, yeah? And you want it where they're actually, you got this negative space, wherever the negative space is, you want them looking in the direction towards that negative space here, yeah? Now, if you're actually looking into camera, you can actually position yourself in center of the frame if you want. So if you're actually looking into camera, there's no harm in being center frame. Like the background. Background's a funny one, right? A couple of things with background. If you're close to the wall, make sure it's quite minimalist, yeah? You want the person speaking to be the main focus, so you don't want the background to distract. If you're not close to the wall, it's quite good to have your subject quite far away from the background. Some things I've seen where people have loads of posters behind them and leaflets with loads of text on, that is really distracting. So try and keep it quite clean if you are using a wall. And also, I'm not sitting right next to the wall. I'm a bit pulled further, yeah? Okay, so what other points? Framing. So we've already talked about framing. Sound. Well, yeah, make sure you got decent sound. Either use one of the microphones that we've mentioned to get good quality sound. And then the other issue is light. You got a couple of options here. Light-wise, what you want to make sure is that the light is in front of you, not behind you. Because if you have the light behind you, if the light was shining from behind me now, I would be in silhouette, yeah? So you want the light to be behind the camera, so you actually, the lights, if you're filming, the light is coming from behind you and lighting up whoever is in front of you. Now you can either do this with natural light, or you can get artificial lights. There's a number of different lights you can get, and I've got a list of options in the one of the sheets that you can download on the equipment. Key thing when you're doing an interview, whether it's yourself or you're interviewing someone else, is a good thing to look for is, are their eyes lit up? Can you see a sparkle in their eyes? You don't want their eyes to be in darkness, because the person watching the video is going to lose connection with that person. So make sure the eyes are lit up as well. And also, the person who's being interviewed, make sure some light is splashing on their face, so it actually pulls them into the foreground, and you don't want to fade into the background. Okay? So you've got two choices there, artificial light or natural light. And sometimes it's quite nice if the light comes in from a side angle and washes the face, rather than head on even. If you're interviewing someone or you're talking to camera, make sure you're in a place that hasn't got a huge amount of noise. If you can, try to get some shots of them indoors. If you shoot them indoors, you'll have more control, because if it's windy, you'll get these noises. So the easiest way to get around that is actually find somewhere indoors, if you can, where there's not a lot of wind blowing or breeze or whatever. Or if you are outdoors and you can't get around that, just try and find somewhere where there's a bit of shelter against like the wind blowing through, because that will just add a lot of noise where it will go, and you don't want that. B-roll is a lot of fun. This is where you spice up our video with lots of visuals that will actually make your video pop. I'm going to give you a framework for shooting B-roll. There are 3 kinds of shots I want to go through. Now there's more than these type of shots that I'm going to feature here, but all you need to know is these 3 type of shots. And we've got wide, medium and close-up. Whatever you're filming, if you can get a mixture of wide, medium and close-up shots, your video will be a lot more dynamic to watch, a lot more interesting. You have your wide shot. It's a good idea sometimes to actually film your wide shot first. So in this case, we've got Bianca. She's sitting in a cafe and she's writing down it's like a letter in Spanish. I don't know what she's writing. Anyway, she's sitting there in the cafe. And in this shot, we can actually see the environment in which she's in. You can see she's upstairs in this cafe, sitting at a table, and you can see the whole context of where she is. And don't forget the 10-second rule. You want to get at least 10 seconds of this. Then we have the medium shot. Now the medium shot is sort of like, if it's a person, it's kind of like their head and shoulders. The wide shot is a bit like what you'd see with the natural eye as you first walk into a room. The medium shot is like what you'd see if you went and sat next to the subject matter of what you're filming. So in this case, if I was to sit next to Bianca, this is what I would see. So this would be like a medium shot. It's kind of like a head and shoulders shot. Then the third type of shot is the close-up. The close-up is you've sat down. Let's imagine you've walked into the cafe, you've seen your friends sitting over there. Glance. That's your wide shot. You sit down, you get chatting. This is what your natural eye would see. As you sit down and you start talking, you'll notice this when you sort of meet someone for a coffee or whatever. You'll start noticing little details. Oh, she's writing. Oh, the coffee cup over there. So your eyes are flicking around, taking in all these little details. So the close-ups are really important. So you want to get lots of close-ups to get lots of detail, so it makes people, when they watch the video, feel like they're in that environment. Do you remember I said in the filming habits, thinking shots, we've got a wide, medium, close-up. Once you've got all these clips together, when you put them all together, they make a sequence, yeah? So I'm just going to demonstrate here, for example, there's our wide shot, then it will cut to a medium shot, and then it cut to a close-up, another close-up, another close-up, bang, we've got a sequence. Do you see how that's more interesting? Also, you don't have to start, in the edit part anyway, we don't have to start off with the wide shot. We could start off with a close-up shot, yeah? Sometimes this can be quite good because people go, oh, someone's writing. Whose hand does that belong to? And then we can cut another shot. So it's her hand. Then the next thing is like, where is she? And then we could cut to, the wide shot that she's in this cafe environment. But do you see how making these building blocks together, actually visually it's more interesting to watch than just having one long clip. I call this the shooting matrix. We've got your wide, your medium, and your close-up. If I was filming someone making a cup of tea, I could get a wide shot of the environment they're in, where they're making that cup of tea. I could get a medium shot as if I was standing slightly closer to them. I could get some close-ups. I could get some close-ups of their hands, the teapot, a shot of their face as they're looking at what they're doing. Get several of these. And to add to this dynamic, if I apply different angles to the wide, medium and close-up, I've got even more possibilities. Essentially, when you're getting your B-roll footage, the more variety you have, the more interesting your video is going to be. Sometimes it's good to think, well, if I was watching this scene from the point of view of a mouse on the floor, what would it look like? So you could have an angle looking up. If I was a fly high up on the wall or a spider dangling off the ceiling, looking at this visual, what would it look like? So, you could go up some steps and shoot down at an angle that way. You can get really close up. If I was a 7-year-old child, what would it look like? So, do you see how you can get all these different types of shots from different angles to make it more interesting? Sometimes one of the things I see with videos is people shoot everything as if it's like on eye level, which is all right to get some shots where it is on eye level, especially the interviews. You want the interviews to be on eye level. But when you're getting your visuals, if I'm shooting someone at a table, sometimes get close down as if what would it look like if I was leaning on the table and filming them that way, yeah? Rather than everything at eye level. It's a bit boring, really. So get lots of different angles. The building blocks you've got, the shooting matrix, you've got wide, medium and close up. And then when you apply different angles to these wide, medium and close ups, you've then got a combination of all kinds of different shots you can make. Which then leads us on to, now this is just a guideline. I highly recommend it. This is something that a lot of video journalists use. When you're getting your wide, medium and close-ups, aim to get, and it doesn't have to be exactly, but if you sort of go for this sort of ratio, I call it this is the B-roll ratio. Try to get about 25% of your shots wide, get 25% of your shots medium, and then get 50% of those shots close-up. Get lots of close-ups, yeah? Obviously, you want your wide and your medium, so you've got a context. So we've got a context of where this activity or visual that you're filming is happening. But get lots of close-ups. Don't forget, people are watching these on mobile phones and iPads and stuff. So the screen isn't always that big. So if you get lots of close-ups, it'll also make them feel like whatever you're filming, like they're actually there. Yeah? If they were sitting at that table, what are the details that they would see and notice? Yeah? Just to repeat again, get 25% wide, 25% medium, and get 50% of your footage close up. Get lots of close-ups. This is one of the things that I've noticed in bad videos. They don't have enough close-ups. Okay, and it'll make your video more interesting. It all comes back to this. Before you go out and film, we mentioned this before, write a shot list. Write down a list of shots, a list of visuals that you can go out and capture. For example, I've got like tea being made. So I'll get a wide shot of the person making the tea, get closer, get a medium, getting them to do that, making the tea. Get some close-ups of the hands, doing whatever it is they do to make tea, a close-up of their face as they look at what they're doing, over the shoulder shot. So it's like, you can see over the shoulder. Again, see we're applying different angles as well. So once I've got that list of visuals to get, and I tick them all off, and I'm getting them from different size shots and different angles, you're going to have some great content to work with that will make your video exciting and interesting to watch. I'd like to introduce you to the 3-step edit workflow. I find it really useful to use as a tool. When you first start editing, it can be quite overwhelming, quite intimidating, especially if you've never done editing before. And I find it helps you keep organized. It gives you a roadmap. And so having all that in place means you can actually enjoy the editing process itself. What I really love about the iPad is the way you can be on a train, a plane. I love going to cafes and you can just pull out your iPad and start editing. All you have to do is add headphones. But alongside having the tools, you also need a workflow. You need a roadmap. It's good to think like a chef. If you think about a chef will have recipes, they'll have a workflow, they'll have a place for everything, they'll have a certain process of doing certain things. And that's all a workflow is. It's a process. And it's not there to restrict you, it's actually there to release you to be creative. It's taking all that clutter out of your head so you can just totally focus on the editing side. If you think like a chef in a kitchen, they don't just make it up as they go along, they have a process, they have a step-by-step plan. The other thing to remember is, what is the goal of editing in the first place? One of the major goals of editing is to actually cut out all the boring bits. We've all seen it where like a family member's showed us a video and it goes on for hours and it shows everything, all the boring bits as well. Essentially with editing, you want to cut out all the boring bits, take all the good stuff and piece it together into, a great story. Step 1, organise your footage and filter your footage. You want to organise your footage basically so you can find where your footage is. And in terms of filtering your footage, all we're doing is we're filtering out all the rubbish and we're keeping all the good stuff, and then we're working with all the best ingredients to make your video. Your second step then is to assemble a rough cut, and the key word here is rough cut. The rough cut, if you think of putting the rough cut together as being like an artist when they sketch, at the beginning of sketching a drawing, they do a rough outline before they put in the detail. At this stage, you want to think wide, step back, and you want to get all the pieces together and figure out the best order to put them pieces and what pieces to use, where and when. Step 3 then is when we get to the detail. Step 3 is when we get the magnifying glass out and we go into the fine details and we polish and fine tune the edit. And this is also where we enhance it. Things like special effects, text, music, color grading, all that fun stuff. And it will make your video pop. This is where it's like the icing on the cake. This is the bit which will make people when they watch the video go, wow, that looks great. So just to recap, it's 3 simple steps. Step 1 is organize and filter footage. Step 2 is assemble a rough cut and keep it rough because you don't want to get lost in detail at this stage. It's all about finding the flow. And then finally, step 3, which is all about refine, perfect, enhancing it with text, music, special effects, all that good stuff. And if you follow this 3-step workflow, you won't get lost, you won't get overwhelmed, and you can actually enjoy the process of editing. And in the next few videos, we're going to go through each of these steps one by one. And during the process, you're also going to learn the techniques of editing as well. Next, we're going to do a quick overview of iMovie. It's basically split into 3 different panels, or you could call them 3 different rooms, and we'll find out what each of them panels is for. But essentially, the main overview of iMovie is 3 different panels. We're going to close all the apps that are open in the background so that iMovie works faster. And the way to do this is if you double click on the home key, you can see all your apps that you have open in the background. And the way to close these is basically to tap, touch and swipe up, touch and swipe up. Okay, so now we've got all our background apps that were open closed. So now next thing we do is we just tap iMovie to open it. And you will notice, first thing you notice is there's 3 tabs. You've got video, projects and filter. Your first tab, video, is where you can view all the video that lives on your iPad. The second one, projects, this is where all your video projects live and where you can create new projects as well. And then filter is where we can later on view videos that we've made and exported. Right, I'm going to give you a very quick tour of the workspace in which you'll be editing in. And if you think of this workspace as being like the kitchen of, if you're going to cook in a kitchen and going back to the chef, it's good to know where everything is. It's good to know what drawers, which tools are in and all that kind of stuff. So basically, if you know your way around the kitchen, you can work faster and you can just get on with cooking. In the same way, if you can figure out where everything is in the workspace for editing, in this case it's iMovie on the iPad, you can just get on with actually editing and not have to worry about where to find things. Now, this is your workspace, so I'm going to give you a brief tour. In the top right hand corner, this section, this is the browser. This is where we can view all our media. See, there's all our clips. And you notice we've still got those green lines. Also, if I tap back here, you'll notice there's a favourites button, and there's all the favourite clips that we selected before. So we can filter it down to our favourite parts of the video that we would most probably likely use in the video as a good starting point. This section is broken up into 3 parts. You've got your access to all your videos, your photographs, and audio as well. So if you think of it as like a food cupboard where you keep all your content that you're going to create your video with. Just go back to all. So you can see even the bits that we didn't select as favourites, we've got access to them as well. Each thumbnail, if you tap on it, you'll notice a pop-up window comes up, and there's a preview play button. If I tap that like so, and you'll notice it will play in the window next door called the viewer. And again, we can tap our finger down and scrub through. Let's find one where there's a bit of movement going on. So I can tap my finger down, scrub through, and it will play next door in the viewer. And basically what we do is we take these clips and we add them to the bottom, which is the timeline. The timeline is where we actually build our video. And we compile and arrange our clips. And you'll notice there's a playhead. Now, wherever this playhead is what we see in the viewer. So the viewer can play clips we can preview clips from the browser, and we can also view clips in the timeline. And wherever the playhead is what we see above in the viewer. Now, if I just drag these clips around, if I just drag it to the beginning, you'll see a play button, and we can play all the clips and they'll play in the order that we've arranged them in. Don't worry, I'll go through how to arrange your clips later on in the next video. What you'll find is you'll end up with lots and lots of clips at the bottom here. Just let's bang some down. Your timeline will start to get quite full. And what you can do is you can pinch to zoom in to the timeline, get nice and close so you can work in detail. And you can pinch to zoom out and see the whole picture. Now, when you have a clip in the timeline, if you tap it, you'll notice right at the bottom is where we have all our adjustment tools. And there's different ones, so if you'll notice at the bottom, all the options change when I tap each different tool. So we've got this one, this is all to do with cuts. This one is to do with motion, sound, text, and colour. But we'll be spending the majority of our time in the cutting category. Just like making a cup of coffee, you filter the coffee beans down and you get all the flavour out. We're going to filter your footage down to the best bits, and this is how. It's a really good technique to go through and select your favourite parts of each clip and set them aside, so then we've got like a favourite batch of clips to work with. It'll all make sense later. Well, basically, in the video tab, scrolling through, if we tap on a video, you'll notice that a preview window opens up, and if we press play, we can play it back. You'll notice also on the clip a yellow bar has appeared around it, and there's like a white line which is the playhead, and we can tap on that playhead. In fact, wherever we tap in that clip and drag our finger, that playhead will follow, and you can see it playing above. To the left, you'll notice that there is a rabbit and a tortoise. If we play the rabbit, it will go through the video clip very quickly. If we play the tortoise, it will play back the clip in slow motion. And you can go through all these clips and preview them, or scrub through using your finger. Now, to select the favourite, all we have to do, if I tap on this clip here, if we take the yellow bar around the clip, you've got the head and you've got the tail. And if I tap on the head and tap, hold and drag, I can drag it to the point where I'd like the clip to begin. And I can do the same with the tail where I'd like it to end. Okay, and once I've found that section, I've gone, yes, I like that section, I'd like to set that aside as a favourite. All you do is press the heart, and you'll notice a green line appears underneath. So if I just see, there's a green line where we selected that favourite section of the clip. We can also go to select more than one part of the clip as a favourite. Don't be too worried at this point, because anything you don't select will not be lost. And it's just to basically filter down how much footage you've got to go through and use that as a starting block when you're editing. Don't forget, when you're selecting your favourites and we're filtering that footage down, all the mass of footage that you haven't selected, you still have access to. So if you want to nip back, you can always go back in and try and find footage you may not have selected as a favourite. So we've got our clips up here living in the browser. As I showed you before, you press the play button and you can play back the clip to preview it. Scrub your finger through. You see we've got the white line following the finger. Taking these yellow handles, we can take the head and the tail. So let's say I want this clip to end just as the pot lands on the table, and I can do the same with the head. I think I'll go mid-paw. Okay, and I've made my first selection. I've trimmed the clip and I want to add it to the timeline, and it's quite simply just press the add button, which is like a downward facing arrow, tap, and it will go onto the timeline. Okay, so if I get a few more clips, let's see, let's take that one, let's throw that in. What's this one? Yeah, let's put that one in too. And let's find one more. Let's throw that in as well. Okay, and that's how you add your clips to the timeline. And I can zoom in, zoom out, just so it fills the space. So if we play this now, you can see how we start off. You can see where the playhead is. Whatever clip it's going over is what appears above. You got your clips on the timeline. Now let's start to look at how you can start to rearrange them in the order that you prefer. Now let's imagine that I wanted to start off with this clip first. All I do is I tap hold and I move my finger, drag it around, and wherever I let it go is where the clip will land. So let's say I wanted this to go to the front. I just drag it to the front, then let go. And there you go, it's at the beginning now. Now you notice there's a bit of a wobble there. It looks like someone knocked the tripod maybe. So I want to trim that wobble out. All I have to do is tap the clip, and again I can just trim it just to the point where the camera settles. And I can do the same with the tail. So I think I want to, as this other lady walks in, I think we'll cut about there. Drag the tail. And that's how you trim a clip in the timeline. So if I want to get rid of a clip, I can either tap, and you'll notice in the bottom there's a delete button, because I'm on the scissor category. So I tap the delete button and it disappears. Just below the browser, you'll notice there's a button which is basically the undo button. So if I want to undo what I've just done, I just tap the undo button and it will undo the action that I've just taken. So that's pretty straightforward. Also, next to the undo button, you'll notice there's like a audio wave, like a icon for audio. If I tap that like so, notice how the icons change in the timeline, the clips. Basically, if I tap that audio wave icon, you can see the waveforms. If I just zoom in here, of the clips, see? Which would be more noticeable if I actually got someone speaking. See, you can see the waveforms. This is Jennifer. This is waveforms of Jennifer speaking. If I don't want too much clutter and I'm not focusing on audio at the moment, I can just tap it again, just to keep it more clean. But it's quite nice to actually see your audio waveforms. The other way to delete a clip is just hold the clip and just push it up. Poof, it's gone. There's another technique called splitting a clip. For example, here, this clip's quite a long one. I'd like to get rid of that middle bit. So all I do is I tap the clip, make sure I'm selected on the scissor icon, and you'll notice at the bottom it says split. So if I type split, and it's just split that clip Now I might just drag over here and split it again, split, and then I can get rid of that middle clip, delete, and there you go. That's how you do a split a clip. That will come in useful later on, as you'll see. There's some techniques you can use with that. Cutaway shots. We've got our talking heads in place. Wouldn't it be nice if, as they're talking, we can actually see cutaway shots of what they're talking about? Let's have a look at how to do that now. So we have Jennifer talking. Now, as she's talking, it'd be nice if we've seen something.
It's just so versatile. I can add a cup of strong breakfast.
A cutaway shot is where we lay a clip on top of another clip that we actually see. Whatever clip is at the top is what we see. So, as we see it, we've got Jennifer here talking.
I love tea because I think it is because it's just so versatile.
As we hear Jennifer
a cup of strong breakfast tea in the morning.
Some of the shots. So let's find a shot we can do as a cutaway. Let's imagine, let's preview this. Cup of tea pouring. Trim that a little bit. And you'll notice next to the preview button, there's 3 dots. This is basically for more options of how to add a clip to the timeline. So if I tap the 3 dots, and you'll notice here we have, it's like 2 squares, one on top of each other. And this is your cutaway option. So if I tap the cutaway option, you'll notice that the clip has been added on top of the clip of Jennifer talking. So if we play that back, see if I scrub through, we can see that clip now. But if I play this back now, we'll be able to hear Jennifer at the same time as we see the visual.
Because I think it is because it's just so versatile. I can have a cup of strong breakfast tea in the morning and that'll keep me going, but it's still got half the caffeine.
And again, if we tap that clip, we can do all kinds to it. We can trim it if we want to. We can pick it up, move it around. Also, what's quite interesting as well, if I just zoom out here, if I move Jennifer's clip, so I just tap a clip, that B-roll footage that's added as a cutaway will remain attached, which is quite interesting. You may have photographs that you took either on your iPad or you've imported them into your iPad that you'd like to add to your video project. It's very easy to add photographs to your video. Let's have a look at how. Right, photographs. If we want to add photographs, we tap on it in the top right-hand corner. We tap on photographs, and basically all you do is you just tap on the photograph you'd like to add, and it will jump in. Let's add another one and jump in. Now if we play these back, there we go, our photographs have been added. Transitions. What is a transition? A transition is what happens between 2 clips. So for example, it starts off on one shot, one clip, and then it goes into another shot, and it fades into that other shot. That fade, which happens between the 2 clips, is called a transition. And there's different types of transitions as well. So you might have another type of transition where it starts off on one shot and then it slides, say, into another shot. That slide is a transition. There's lots of different types of transitions. It's very easy to use them, and we're going to go through that now. So if I press play, so this box here is the transition, this little small box in between the 2 clips. So press play, and you see how it cross-faded from one shot to another. Now, if I want to change the transition, I tap the transition square, and you'll see there's all these other options. So for example, let's say we want it to slide instead. So if I move that back now, it slides into the next one. There's other options as well. We have a fade. I don't know what this one does. Let's see. Cool. So that fades in and fades out. That can be quite a nice touch. You see it in a lot of movie trailers where it fades into one shot and fades back in. Or The other thing as well, you don't want to use too many of these transitions because it can make it too sickly, but certain parts of your video will work really well. But a lot of times as well, it's good to have no transitions and keep it nice and clean. So if I tap, we've got an option to tap none, which is like a straight line. So now it will just cut from one shot straight into another shot. And that is transitions. Now you've seen a few techniques of how you can put together, assemble a rough cut. So what I want you to do now is I want you to take your footage you've got on your iPad and I want you to start to play around, keyword being play, and keyword being rough, put a rough cut together. And just see what happens, see if it flows, play around, experiment. Nothing is set into cement. That's the beauty of it. You can always start again. And don't worry about making mistakes. In fact, in some cases, there are no mistakes. It's all personal preference. So take them techniques we've just gone through and now take your footage and start to assemble a rough cut using them techniques. First one I'm going to show you is how to resize your video clip. And this can be really, really useful in all kinds of ways. So for example, we've got Jennifer here talking.
I love tea because
and it's always good to have
it is because it's
things
just so
change on
versatile.
the screen.
A cup of strong breakfast tea.
Not to have things looking the same all the time, all the way through. Otherwise people get bored. I mean, we've got B-roll, so it's good to have some B-roll in. Let's just expand that a little bit. So we've got clip here, Jennifer talking.
I love tea because
blah, 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 blah,
I think
blah.
it is because it's just so versatile. I can have a cup of strong breakfast tea in the morning and that'll keep me going, but it's still got hot.
So what would be really nice is if we could mix it up a little bit. So first of all, I'm going to split the clip. So I've got this scissor icon selected and I go split. And, it'll still keep playing.
I love tea because I think it is because it's just so versatile. I can have.
But what I'm going to do this time, if I just split there, I want it. This is going to be it's basically, I'm going to make it look like there's two cameras. Because what I'm going to do is, it's the same clip, but we split it up. But this section of the clip, if I tap it, you'll notice in the viewer, there's like a magnifying glass, which is the resize tool. And if I tap the resize tool, it will say pinch to zoom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch on the video clip with Jennifer. And there we go. It's like we've got a new camera angle. And then I just tap the pinch to zoom icon again. And now watch what happens.
Because I think it is because it's just so versatile. I can have
a cup
of strong
like
breakfast tea in the morning and that'll keep me going, but it's still got half the caffeine.
So we've had three things happen there. We've had we've got one shot, two shot, the illusion of two shots anyway, and then B-roll. So straight away we're adding variety to the video. I'm going to show you now how we can do things like freeze frames and slowing down clips. So if I tap the clip, if we look at the adjustment tools at the bottom, we've got the motion tool next to the scissors. If I tap that like so, and this now gives me the option to slow down the clip or speed it up. So if I speed up if I drag it towards the tortoise, it will actually make the clip slower. And you'll notice also that the clip now has extended because it lasts longer because it's slower. So if we just play that back, see it's in slow motion, and I might even want to trim it now as well. If I just go back to the scissor tool, trim it. Play that back. There we go, it's in slow motion. If you're doing slow motion and someone's talking, it will affect their speech. So for example, with Jennifer here, make it faster, she's going to talk faster.
And then I blend some of the fruity teas with vodka to make it.
If I make the clip slower, she's going to talk very slow. You'll notice along the line, there's one particular dash that goes further down, and that's your normal. See? You'll notice it's got ×1. There you go. See? Next to it. ×1.5. So you want it on ×1 to reset it back to normal. I might want to make a freeze frame, right? Freeze frame, let's imagine halfway through pouring the tea. It freeze frames into like a photograph. So I want the freeze frame to say about there. All I do, tap the clip, go into the speed control tab, and you'll notice there's an option freeze. If I tap freeze, a yellow bar has appeared, and that's the section of the clip that will be like a still frame. So if I just push this back and play it, notice how it's gone still frame and then back again. This yellow bar here is where it's a freeze frame, and I can extend it if I want to, so I'll make that freeze frame last longer as well. So if I just stop that a moment. So you can see that's the beginning and that's the end of where the freeze frame happens. So I tap, and I can adjust that. Well, all I have to do is just tap that middle bit, and I can adjust it, make it last longer, or make it shorter if I want to. Okay, so that's how you do freeze frame. Well, first of all, let's go to the text tab. Tap the text tab. And you see all these different text options. At the moment, we're on none. We've got our clip selected, so that's the clip we'd like the text to be added to. Got all these different options, different styles of text. And you'll notice there's an option to go center or lower. Now, I'm going to go lower on this because I'm going to do basically what you call a lower third, which is where you see the name title appear. So if I tap lower, and you notice some text appears at the top here in the corner of the picture. We'll pick reveal. This will be the style. Select lower. And to change the text, all you do is tap the text. Jen T Guru. Done. Okay, so let's play that back.
Still got half the caffeine of coffee.
There we go.
And then in the afternoon, if I need to pick me up, I'll choose like a green tea.
So let's say I wanted the text to appear right at the beginning of this clip, but end about, say, here. All I do is I split the clip. So I tap the clip, split it, and then the section of the clip that's been split that we'd like the text to appear, type it like so, add the text, reveal, I want it lower, type Jen T Guru, done. The text will not be on throughout the whole clip.
And then in the afternoon, if I need to pick me up, I'll choose like a green tea or something with mint.
This time we'll go for center. I think we'll go for line title. Now let's go for focus. Tap it, and we'll call this T101. Done.
As gifts, and I get it as gifts.
So we've had our option where it's in the lower third, and this is where it's center, which is more for sort of titles and stuff. It's really simple. Just tap the clip you'd like to color grade, go to the color grade adjustment tool, and when we tap that, we've got all these different options. If I tap Blockbuster, see how the color changes? Or we can make it black and white, or Western. So there's lots of different styles. You can go all funky. Blast is quite a good one. So yeah, there's all these different ones. So all I have to do is, it's good to sort of position the clip underneath the playhead so we can see it in the viewer. All I have to do is tap the clip and then select. Doing voiceover on your video is really straightforward. It's very easy. First of all, on your timeline, make sure that none of your clips are selected. So I just tap in the grey area, so it's unselected. And you'll notice on the right-hand bottom corner, like a little microphone, this is your voiceover tool. So if you just tap it like so, and as soon as you tap it, you'll notice this little pop-up. You can see at the moment that green line is going up and down because that's my voice. Key thing to remember on this is you don't want that green line to hit red. See that? Red. Yeah? You don't want that. So you want to keep it green. All you want to do is just tap the record button. Record. And it will count down 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then it starts moving by itself. So I'm going to do voiceover. So let's pretend I'm saying, yeah, Leaf Cafe. They have lots of different kinds of tea. Loose leaf tea is something that is really popular at the moment. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I am doing voiceover now, blah, 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 blah. And then when I want to stop, just tap the stop button. Stop. Right, 2 things. First of all, on the timeline, you'll notice where it says recording 1. It's like a sort of, is that like a blue colour? That is the actual voiceover, and you can see where it begins and where it ends. Also, that little pop-up, it's asked me, do I want to accept, review, retake, or cancel? So if I just tap review. Okay, and then it starts moving by itself. So I'm going to do voiceover. So let's pretend I'm saying, yeah, Leaf Cafe, they have lots of different kinds of tea. Okay, let's just do stop. I might want to do retake, so all I'd have to do is tap retake. So just tap retake. That counts down again. Okay, this is take 2 for voiceover. I like loose leaf tea. I'm sure you will once you try it. There's a variety of all kinds of loose leaf tea at This Is Leaf Cafe. Then I tap stop. And this time I'm just going to tap accept. Right, so now we've got our voiceover at the bottom. Take 2 for voiceover. I like loose leaf tea. Just like any other clip, if I tap it, if I go into the adjustment tools for audio, for example, tap, I can raise the volume higher or lower. If I go into the cutting adjustment tool, I can even go through and split it up, and then I can tap, hold and drag and move sections of that voiceover to different sections. See? So it's as simple as that, basically. So that's how you do voiceover. Now, some of you as well, you may feel, well, I don't feel confident speaking in front of camera. So a good way to actually start maybe might be just get some B-roll footage shot, and then you can actually bang all your B-roll onto the timeline and then just do voiceover to it. It's a great way to start. Or you might even want to say, well, I'll just record a little bit at the beginning of Talking Head, a little bit at the end of Talking Head, and then in the middle, I'll bang a load of clips, a load of B-roll clips, and speak underneath them. And, you know, you can also, don't forget, you can adjust your clips to what's being said in the voiceover, and you can sort of move the voiceover, nudge the voiceover around as well to be in the right position, and you can trim it. Like, it's just like any other clip. You can trim it, you can split it, and you can rearrange it as well. Okay, so that's how, I'm just going to delete that for now. That's how you do the voiceover tool. How to add music, right? Okay, to add music, again, this is really straightforward, really simple. If we go into the browser window, and if I tap on the audio tab, you'll notice here, well, it will come here, you've got like theme music at the top. You could also bring your own music that you might already have on your iPad. but I'm just going to tap on theme music. This is a load of tracks that you get with iMovie built in. And all you do is you just tap on a track, and as you can see, these two icons pop up, and you can preview it by pressing the play button. And you can go through all these different ones and preview. So preview, it's almost like you're auditioning different tracks, see which ones, take your fancy. So once you've decided, yeah, that's the track I want, the arrow key, the downward arrow key, just tap it like so, and you'll notice that will be added to your timeline. There is the green. And you can tap on this, and again, if I go to the adjustment tools with the audio, I can make it higher or lower the volume. Place that back. Also, you notice in the bottom right hand corner, it says fade. Now, I'm in the adjustment toolbar for audio, don't forget. If I tap fade, this little yellow arrow comes up, and I can drag it. And you see how you got that sort of, it's very slight, like a sort of, like a bend, like a curve. Basically what that'll do is that will sort of, you can decide, you can fade in the music and fade it out as well. So it'll fade in. And you can also do that for the, you can have it fade in and you can have it fade out as well. So that's how you add music. It's really straightforward. Okay, so nothing to it really. So how do we export the movie? Really simple. Right, in the top left-hand corner, you'll see like an arrow icon. If we tap it like so, and this takes us to the profile page, if you will, of your movie. And the first thing you do, where it says My Movie, just tap on it like so, give it a name. I'll call it Rough Cut. Rough Cut T. Done. Now you've got the option, do you want to actually export it? A couple of options you've got. First of all, this middle icon, which is for sort of exporting, if you tap it on it like so, this window pops up. You can upload it to Facebook, YouTube. Let's say you're going to upload it to Facebook. You can go in, YouTube. It's saying it can't connect because I've got the Wi-Fi. I've got it on airport mode, so don't panic. But basically here, you go in and you'd log into your account and put in all your details, descriptions, etc. So that's one option. But a better option, which I find a lot faster, is, and it's good to do this, I think, with all your videos. So yeah, here we can add it straight to YouTube, straight to Facebook, Vimeo, all these other sites. But a better option is where it has save video, tap on that. Now, what we're going to do here is we're actually going to save it directly to our Photos app. I'm going to choose HD 720. Tap it like so, and you'll see here it's export a movie. The movie was exported to your photo library. So just tap OK. If we go to Photo Library, that was done today. Tap on it like so. You can play back your video that you just made. But now it's in the photo library. This is where you'll find it a lot faster if you do it this way. If in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see the export icon. So I tap on that like so. And here you can export it straight to YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo. So all you do is you tap YouTube, Facebook, wherever it is, or if you're going to send it by mail or whatever. And you'll find if you do it this way, it will actually upload a lot faster. I don't know why, but it just does. And that's how to export your video. Again, straightforward, very simple.